Spotty gotta do. What?
Welcome, guys. Welcome. This is your boy Japanese Tutor, and we're doing same colored Bishop Endgames and what to do in them and how to win, draw, you know, and beat your opponent in it or try to confuse your opponent in it. So we're gonna take from Mark Deveretsky's book, Endgame Manual, and he says these endgames were first subjected to thorough analysis in the mid 19th century by the Italian player L. Santorini. I wonder if they had YouTube back then. Mid 19th century, I think that's when YouTube started. Later, significant additions to the theory were made by GMY Averbach. White to move wins by driving off the enemy bishop from one diagonal and then interfering along the other diagonal. White to move wins. Bishop d7. Bishop d1. Bishop wow. Bishop d1, bishop h3. Letting them get on this diagonal. Here. Bishop h4, bishop g2. Now trying to interfere this way. And then, bam. Yeah, I mean, what's the bishop c6, bishop f7, and then d7, and we have a clear win. Can this plan be prevented? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And thank you so much for the follow. Provided that black's king can get to c5, preventing white's bishop from interfering along the diagonal, black to move draws. Okay, so let's go back. So let's say it was black to move. Black to move now draws to king d4, not d5, not here, not d5, but d4. If d5, then d7, bishop d1, bishop c6 check, and then d7, right? Okay. So we have to avoid that. So that's actually a really good point. So not d5, but d4. Okay. d4, bishop d7, bishop d1. Bishop h3. Bishop a4. Bishop g2. And now king c5. And they can't promote the pawn, right? Wow. Can we do this one more time? That was kind of beautiful, like the way they stopped the pawn. It looked really easy. Okay, so black to move king d4, not d5, because we're going to get the check, and then they go to the right square, right? So we play here and then here, right? We play here, the bishop has to move, and then we play the check if it's on d5. So here, bishop h3, giving way, boom, bishop here, and now king here. Amazing. The bishops are dancing, exactly. All right. Thus, if the weaker side's king cannot get in front of the pawn, then the basic defensive principle becomes the king behind the king. Okay, the short diagonal. Even with the right king position, the draw is impossible. So we have another. We have another one. So let's set up another position. So the bishop goes here, king goes here, pawn is here. king is here. And there's a bishop here. Great. And it is white to move. So even with the right position, the kings, if the draw is impossible, and this is the short diagonal, if one of the diagonals along which the bishop will restrain the pawn proves too short. So bishop b7, f5, bishop f3, bishop c8, bishop e2. All of the squares on the c8 to a6 diagonal, except c8, are under the control of white's pieces. Now we get a zigzag. Now, if we were to move the entire position one rank down, the bishop would get another free square, and white can no longer win. Okay, so let's say bishop here. What happens here? Does anybody see it? Basically, we can play anything, but I think bishop f5, controlling this square. Now the bishop has to leave the protection of this diagonal, because let's say the king goes here, then bishop check wins the bishop. And I'll just play that for you guys. And now we have an easy promote. And if here, then we can promote. Very nice. But now if we were to move the position once up, we would not be able to win. It would be a draw. Okay, and now let's set up another position. Actually, because the position is wait, who's it to move? Okay, the position is like this. Like this. Let's move here. Okay, don't worry about the moves. And it is okay. Okay. White to move draws. So let's say it was white to move. Okay, white to move draws. So bishop d5. King c8. King c8 or a6 are useless. Bishop a6. Okay, so they're saying that on bishop d5, yeah, so that's useless. So on bishop f5, there follows bishop f3. Oh, sorry. Bishop f5. Then follows bishop f3, bishop e6. Wait, what? Nani? This is interesting. So if bishop d, okay. I'm just going to set up the position again, because it's not giving me the following position has some reciprocal zigzags and some. Okay, bishop d5. There's a bishop here, and I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me, because I have had a long day today. Okay, so this is saying that bishop d5, king c8, and now if bishop f5. Oh, I'm sorry. I just mixed up the squares. Bishop f3. Bishop e6. Bishop b7, exclamation mark. c5, king c5. Bishop f3. Bishop d5. Bishop e2. Bishop b7. King d7 draw. I don't get it. F3, the b7 is in front of the pawn. Exactly. I know. I was messing that up. I was messing that up. Sorry, guys. All right. So, but what is black to do if it's his turn? So let's say it was black to move. So I would play bishop a6. Any bishop retreat. Okay, so this is the point. Any bishop retreat along the h1 to a8 diagonal is refuted by bishop d5. That is insane. Okay, let's look at this. Bishop d5. Wow. You can't play there because of here. And we're going to get a... Whoa. That's awesome. Okay, and if he... Let's say he plays here. Okay, so here, 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 and then we get to the same place. Wow. What an amazing move. So what should we do? That's so amazing. I broke him with my earlier game. Yes, you did. So what should we do here? So bishop a6. The path to victory is uncomplicated. King c6, bishop c8, bishop c4, bishop g4, king b7, bishop f3 check, king a7. Well, this is going to get into the same position that we're in, right? Because this is the diagonal, right? If after king a7, let's say the bishop plays something like, well, I'm going to play here, and I'm going to control the file. Huh, that's interesting. Right, so this is automatically a win. King a7, can't do anything. Can't do anything again. If he trades, I'm going to promote. Yeah, and you can't stop that. Wow, very nice. So they're going to talk about another point is transpositional to pawns. I recently bought a book on opposite Bishop Endgames. Endgames are awesome. Endgames are amazing. The reason I got good, if you want to say, were just because of endgames. In the endgames, you have to calculate the whole line through. You make one mistake, you lose the entire game. Whereas if you make a mistake in the opening, you can come back. So it's crucial in the endgames that you really calculate to the end. Okay. So let's set up this position. And he says, a typical situation, and this is a transposition to positions with one pawn. White can take the g4 pawn only at the cost of his a6 pawn. The question is whether the enemy king can get back in time. King f4. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Let's go. Excellently played. White improves his own king's position, and now it no longer stands in the path of its pawn, while simultaneously using zugzwang to force the enemy king further away from the king. If you play the hasty takes, bishop catches a6, king f4, rook c, king c7, bishop f3, king d6, g4, king e7, leads to a draw. Okay. So white's a move. King f4. King a7. If they said if you play king c7, then you have a7. And then if bishop f3, yeah, bishop catches g4. And you always have to worry about this pawn. Takes, takes, and my pawn is queening. Okay, so king a7. What happens if they take here? Then just bishop catches a6, king catches a6, bam, and we are well ahead of the king. And our pawn promotes. Okay, great. King f4. King a7. Now bishop captures g4. Bishop catches g4. Right? Sorry. Bishop catches g4, bishop catches a6. And now the king is one space this way. And bishop f3. King b6. g4. King c5. g5. Before, maybe you should play king c7 instead. But still g5 works. Okay, so g5. See, king c5, g5, king d6, g6, king e6, king g5, bishop to c4, and g7. Black resigned. In view of king f7, king h6, king f6, king h7, g5, king h8, king h6, and bishop e4. Followed by here and here, kicking the bishop off the diagonal, taking the diagonal, and then bam. Right? And remember, it's too short. So let's say they play something like this. Here. Bam. Bishop g8. Let's say they play bishop here. Bishop f7. And now we just play here. Now they're in zugzwang. They can't play here, and the king has to move. We're either winning the bishop or promoting. These are from Dvoretsky's books. Opposite color bishop endings are tough, so are same color bishop endings. Oh, and you should never just give your opponent a draw if it's an opposite color bishop endgame. You should always play it. You know, usually the person who understands it more will win. So he gives another position here. And for your auditory senses, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what's happening. While I set this up. Fire. Is it lethal to be down a pawn in the same color bishop ending? Let's say both sides are of the board, connected pawns on both sides, for example. Well, if you can make it like one pawn difference, then you can use these techniques. We're going to go into more techniques later and in future videos as well. But usually you want to keep your king. Keep the bishop behind the pawn, making the king defend them, and coming up with the king and try to prevent them from advancing. That's like the technique. Thank you so much for following. I really appreciate it. And guys, if you are new here, go ahead and join the YouTube. Join the YouTube fam. Okay. So Capablanca versus Capablanca is white. Janosky is black. This is New York, 1916. White has nothing to play for, other than to pick up the B pawn in exchange for his G6 pawn. Unfortunately, this plan would not be enough to win. Ho ho ho! Alright, so let's do this. White to move. White to move. The main variation is C5, B4, King C4, Bishop E1. What's happening here? Thank you. Thank you for the follow. All right. And they're saying C5, King G7, Bishop catches B4, Bishop G3. F2 also draws. That's what they say here. But that Bishop H4 actually loses. Wow. Bishop C3 check. King takes B4. King F7. B5. Bishop C7. Preventing it from going further. King D5. And I notice that a lot of the times they go on the opposite color of the bishop. I guess that's just to avoid any bishop checks. So we can make a general rule of thumb: when you have the same colored bishops, you want to avoid that color. Knight, King E7, King C6, King D8, King B7. Bam. This is a draw. My bishop is probably just going to play here, and we'll draw this. Very nice. Okay, so King E4. Capablanca is in no hurry to force matters. He maneuvers, hoping for a mistake by his opponent. b4. By no means that it is forced, but on the other hand, it doesn't spoil anything. Bishop e3. Doesn't trade. Bishop c3. King d3. Bishop e1. Bishop d2. Bishop f2. King e4. If we capture, it's a draw. And now, bishop c5 is the mistake. Capablanca is amazing. Now white captures the b4 pawn with a tempo ahead of the other variations. First, black had to lure the king away from the queen side. King d5. Bishop e7. King c4. King g7. Takes. Bishop d8. And now Capablanca played c3. I would play bishop d6 in this. Maybe that's a mistake too. It's bishop c5. Okay. The win was bishop d2. But let's see what happens. So bishop c3 check. King captures g6. b4. King f5. King d5. In this position, the second player, Janowski, resigns, and wrongly so. Black could have gotten a draw by employing a basic defensive plan of king behind king. We learned this earlier. Since white is going to put his king on c6, black must hurry his king over to c4. King f4. So king d5, king f4. Bishop d4. King f3. b5. And after b5, king e2. King c6. King d3. Bishop b6, and obviously not trading. Bishop g5. Bishop c7. Bishop e3, not letting him promote the pawn. Bishop e3. King d5. This is the most dangerous continuation. If black plays king c3, then bishop d6. Okay, so I'll just play this for you. If black plays king c3, then bishop d6, bishop b6, king c6. And black hasn't had time to play c4. So he doesn't have time to play this c4 because we're attacking the bishop. Okay. Nice. Okay, so black is saved by a tactic. So after d5, bishop to d2. Because if he plays b6, we have this pin. Then bishop d8, bishop e3, not letting them promote. Okay, bishop c7, and this is then bishop d2. King c6, bishop e3. king b7. Then we only play king c4 here, attacking the pawn. King a6. King b3 because we have to get the king behind king pawn, right? Bishop e6, bishop g5. Bishop f2. Bishop d8. Wait. Bishop f2. Bishop d8. Bishop e1 check. And then king a4. Wow, that was so amazing. So basically, we're trying to learn this king behind king technique. And Capablanca actually messed this up. He messed up a winning position. So Capablanca actually was winning this game, but he ended up losing. And the only reason that he was winning is because he had the extra tempo. So we know that interference. Bam. Okay. So this is called interference, and we're going to put this one up. And I'll give you another one just to listen to you, some auditory relief from my voice. While I set it up. Hey. Alright, so what are your thoughts about this? What is the best move for white here? It's white to move. What do you think the best move is here? Alright, so for those of you at home just wanting to watch and enjoy, so the best move here is actually bishop a7. This is called an interference. If you take here, I'm gonna just push. So bishop a1. And then after that, king b1, bishop c3, king, bishop here. Bishop a1. Bishop d4? Wow. Captures on d4. King d3. Bishop b2. King e4. Now we're going to promote to a queen. Whoa. So, try to use your interference as well. And we're going to look at some tragic comedies. Tragic comedies is Mark Dvoretsky's section where he takes some famous games from some strong grandmasters and brings them down to the mortal level because grandmasters also make mistakes. Yeah, that was a really nice one. Okay, so let's see one more example. Bam. Let's set this one up. And it is black to move. Alright, so black to move. And they played incorrectly. They played bishop e5. Bishop captures e5. King d5. They actually played bishop g7 here instead of just... Maybe... Can I capture this? No. What was the best move? King d5 after king d3. Right, because this is my idea. Hold on. King d3, and he can't take because I'm going to come over here and take the pawn. And it's going to be a draw, right? And I played check. So yeah, this is just winning. I mean, not winning, but a drawing, okay? So let's go back. And see what he should have played. This is crazy. So, okay, so actually let me put what he played, the response. Okay, so black to move. And black to move, he played bishop e5. Takes king d5, and he played bishop g7, now king c4. And black won. Black should have carried out his interference in a more primitive form by preparing e5, bishop e5. So what they're saying is that he should have played king d5 instead. King d5. King d5. If king d3, king e6. King e6. And then after king e6, bishop d4, a2, c4, now bishop e5. And you're winning here because you're going to promote the piece. So grandmasters can lose very basic endgames as well, and I hope that you take this studying seriously so that you don't lose endgames like this. And now you know. Thank you all so much for first being patient with my mishap before and getting through the video, and two, stay around. A lot of support. If you learned something, please consider subscribing or liking the video and putting the notification bell on. If you know somebody that wants to learn chess, bring them over to the channel. They're very welcome. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section below. That's my time here today. Take care.